Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the Dagger. I'm your host, Rajan Rao, along with my other co-host, Ramsey Mackin. Um,
I don't know what made you host and me co-host, but go ahead.
well, I think it's because um, the person speaking on your guys' Spotify or your YouTube right now is the champion of the Fantasy Non-Footballers Fantasy Football League in 2025, 2026. It was a hard road. I think I had like some of the least points forced or for in the whole league.
Yeah.
I snuck into the playoffs as the seventh seed. My record was 7-6, and I played two juggernauts against our friends Lennon and Rohan, and then Dylan in the finals. And it came down to Puka Nakua, and at one point, I think I was ahead by 3 points or a little over 3 points. Puka caught that crazy ball that ended up being reversed and not as the called as a catch. But even if he had caught it, I think I would have won by like point, like within 1 point. But I won the league. It was a great time. Ramsey pointed this out to me. In terms of actually like being predicted to win or lose, 3 of the 4 teams in the top 4 in our league were predicted to be bottom 3, like by the ESPN simulator, which just goes to show you how amazing fantasy is and that real ball knowers will always win. Our friend Ramsey here didn't do so hot, but it's okay. He can just admit that he doesn't have the ball knowledge needed to win a fantasy football league.
In probably 5 years now playing fantasy football, I've learned that you can be a ball knower all you want, but this game is way more luck than it is skill. But congratulations, Rajan. Yeah, I'm a math guy, and I really tried hard to make these like really fun odds before the playoffs, and I had this whole algorithm, and it determined very strongly that Rajan was dead last. I forget his odds, but it was plus something thousand.
I think it was 1 in 13 or
1 in 13. Okay, then
Yeah.
it must be plus 1,200. Yeah, and anyway, came all the way back to win. It was insane, and a $100 prize. So congrats, Rajan. Do you know what you're
Thank
gonna
you.
spend the money on?
Well, I sent $1.67 to Ramsey as the amazing commissioner of our league as a little token. I told him to throw something on the grill for that. Not sure if he did or not, but
I'll get on it right away.
yeah,
In your honor.
yeah, that was fantastic. Yeah, and Rohan, Dylan, and I have to work on the jokes we're gonna make our friend Dehan say in the middle of our college campus.
Yeah, his punishment is doing a comedy special. Comedy special is a stretch. He's doing like a stand-up routine for like 10 minutes that he knows nothing about going in. So
And
I hope you guys deliver.
the stipulation is that every single time either someone doesn't laugh or there's like a pause or like a silence in the crowd, he has to say one of 3 things. Am I mudded? Chad, is this thing on? I forgot the third one. We're gonna come up with it. It'll be really, really good.
Oh my goodness. Okay. Well,
Yeah,
what are we here to do today, Ryan?
we're gonna argue about politics, and by politics I mean the NFL playoffs, because this is probably the most exciting. I think I texted Ramsey this. This is like the most exciting playoff bracket I can remember since like I want to say the late 2010s, like when the Titans were the first seed and or it was Baltimore and then the Titans beat them at home and there was like this like crazy thing and then the Titans played the Chiefs. Lots of good games. It's like reminiscent of that time where there's not a clear cut favorite to like 100% dominate. Like there's no Chiefs, there's no Ravens, there's no. I mean, last year everyone thought the Lions were going to make it the whole way. All 3 of those teams are not nowhere near the playoffs. Well, Lions were pretty close, but it just sets the field for a pretty interesting and exciting set of matchups, and some that have some bad blood or some rivalries that should make this a really, really fun wild card weekend. So,
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Do you?
it's going to be exciting. We were also texting on our fantasy chat about how this is going to be fun playoffs to watch because there's very few teams that people don't want to see in the Super Bowl, and like I think every single AFC team like would be fun to watch in the Super Bowl. Even if people don't like the Patriots, it's not the Tom Brady Patriots; it's a completely different team. Or no, very few people dislike Josh Allen, and a lot of people want to see him get a chance, or underdogs like the Jags and Steelers and Chargers, whatever. But and in the NFC, I think the only teams that people might not want to see are like the Niners and Eagles because they've like been there before. But everyone else, like for sure, and so like, and even those teams, I don't think people are very afraid of. It's not like we're hate watching Mahomes again, like you mentioned. So
Like we usually do.
yeah, exactly,
Yeah,
like we
right.
usually do. But we're ready to go. We have a bracket up, and Raj and I already made our own brackets, but we're gonna make one together now and kind of debate if we have any differences.
Yeah, you want to
So
start
yeah.
AFC, NFC?
Um, I usually start with the AFC, so let's do that.
Let's do that.
All right.
Okay. I'm making the new bracket right now. Okay, Steelers Texans. That's I think this is gonna be like, again, I love it when the fifth seed is going on the road to a much worse fourth seed, but
Yeah,
because they're going on the road, it's a historic team. They
you
seem
have a
to
really
never
good home field advantage.
really good home field advantage. I think that makes a big difference. Especially being how how amazing their comeback win. Comeback. I mean, they did,
Uh,
yeah. But
choke
like,
from the
it's
Ravens
it's a
ish, but
big
yeah,
energy win. I think that
yeah,
coming off of that against a division rival, obviously Pittsburgh as a city is super big into this. I think the question is whether Aaron Rodgers can get anything actually going against a formidable defense. I mean, not just a formidable defense, the formidable defense of the NFL.
yeah. Rodgers had an excellent game against the Ravens, but this Texans defense is on a whole nother level, and they've ended the season very strong. They're very, very common. I don't think they're even a sleeper pick at this point to like even make it out of the AFC because they're getting a lot of traction. But I think this is pretty easy to pick for the for the Texans. But at the same time, like if the Steelers win, even though it'd be an upset, it wouldn't be like that ridiculous because they
Yeah.
do have all of this in their favor.
Yeah. Agreed. Um, I'm not gonna get. You want to guess a score for each one, like just like for fun?
Sure, yeah. Well, I don't think we'll keep track of it, but
No.
Texans. I'm gonna say Texans by like a field goal or something,
Hmm.
but you're like 24-21. I don't know. What do you think?
I was gonna say something closer to maybe either 17-13 or like 20-17, like something super, like a defensive slugfest ish with a
That's
couple
true.
glimmers of offensive firepower, and then maybe a walk off field goal, or someone misses a field goal and they win.
We'll see. Yeah,
It'd be.
Fairbairn win.
Could you imagine if the Texans, is it? I can't remember who the kicker is, but if he
Texans kickers Fairbairn.
oh, okay. Imagine he misses the same way that the Ravens guy missed. That's how they advance.
That's just plot armor at that point,
That
man.
is plot armor. Um, I saw something that said that like a priest had like blessed the area of the field
Yeah,
where the kick missed.
he put holy water in the same end zone. It was
Oh,
ridiculous.
that was not holy. That must have been a Pittsburgh priest or something. That's not good. Um,
Conspiracies.
um, Jags Bills. Actually, can we skip this one and go to Pat's Chargers, because I don't know what to do for the Bills game.
Well, we're gonna have to come back at some point, but sure, yeah. Pats Chargers. You can guess where I'm going with this. So how about you start?
You want the Chargers? Sorry. You think the Chargers are gonna win, right? Yeah.
Like, look, I am a Pats fan, as people listening, I'm sure know. But and as we've been ready for the playoffs, I knew the Pats would make the playoffs. I was thinking a lot about who I want our opponent to be, and between the Texans, Bills, and Chargers, I'm confident the Pats got the best draw. And obviously, I wish we were the 1 seed. That would be ideal. But being the 2 seed and getting the 7 seeded Chargers, who still have a kind of banged up offensive line, and they have a pretty good offense. And Justin Herbert, yeah, I don't remember how he is as a playoff performer. I know he choked against the Jaguars, but besides that, I don't know if he's won a playoff game. But anyway,
He
I'm
hasn't
not
had
too
much
worried about it.
opportunity to prove anything yet because they've been so bad. Besides when Harbaugh was there.
Yeah, exactly. And the Chargers defense is okay, but it's not anything scary. And so I know the Pats have had an easy schedule, and I know that a lot of people don't believe them. But I think this will be a win for them and Drake May.
I agree absolutely, and I think that this will be an opportunity for the Pats to show that they can contend with even though they're not a great team, Chargers are still in the playoffs. I mean, any playoff team is a threat, and
Yeah.
You know, to go against someone like Jim Harbaugh automatically means that you have to be playing good football to win. But
Yeah.
that being said, I think the Pats are going to destroy the Chargers. I think they're not going to be ready for what hits them. They have just no. It doesn't feel like there's like an identity with the Chargers, and you can go based off of stats and metrics when you're talking about who's going to win a matchup, but you can also go off of, like, I'm not saying you can go off of vibe as like an accurate way of predicting a matchup, but to some extent, the vibe of a team brings a lot of energy for or against them. Like, and you can think of cohesive teams that have just like maybe not the best rosters in the league, but they just play together and they have like an energy of a team attitude and stuff. And I think the
Hmm.
Pats are definitely there. And I think that the Boston, or I guess New England greater area, hasn't hosted a playoff game since Brady left, right? Like this, they were 3-4 or 3-14 last year, if I'm not mistaken, and they're
Yeah.
13-4 now. I mean,
I think
that's a
four
quite
and
a big
13.
turnaround. Or what'd you say?
Might have been 4-13,
My
but
oh
yeah,
4-13.
big
But they,
turnaround.
yeah. I mean, like this is gonna be like a sold out Foxborough. People are gonna be
And
loud.
I'll say, Chargers have to travel to the East Coast, and they have to play in the cold weather, which probably doesn't bode well in either way. And another fact worth pointing out: Drake May is undefeated in prime time, and this is the Sunday night game. So
Oh,
um, he lives for the big moments. I
you
don't think it'll
sound
be a
just
blowout
like an
though.
announcer right now. You sound just like Chris. I bet Chris Collins is announcing this game. He said, "Just well, Justin Herbert he can't contend with Drake May. Drake May lives the big moments, Jim. I don't know."
Drake, May. But yeah, I don't think it'll be a blowout, like you said. I hope it is. I'm gonna say Pats by like 6 or something. Maybe like 28-21. I'll say that. I don't know.
I was gonna go a little bit more extreme, something like 30-17 or 30-20.
Okay.
I'm pretty confident in the Pats. Okay, this is the dreaded matchup: Jags Bills.
I don't know, dude. I don't know. I don't know what to do. This is the single hardest first round matchup in the entire bracket, obviously, because both of these teams are AFC Championship quality, and the Bills, despite not winning their division, they still have the best quarterback in the playoffs. And Josh Allen, now that the AFC does not have Joe Burrow, Patrick Mahomes, or um,
Lamar.
Lamar Jackson, so this is Josh Allen's opportunity. And a lot of people are on the internet saying that this has to be his year, and if he doesn't win it, then he's never going to. I think they've said that for like multiple years, but regardless, I even though I'm a Pats fan, I really do adore Josh Allen, and I think most people who are NFL fans would love to see him win. He's just a likable guy, and so part of me wants to pick him. But this Jags team is on another level, and they have turned it around in a way that could not have remotely expected. And you see the number of points they're dropping like week after week. It's like consistent 40 bombs. Trevor Lawrence is ridiculous. I know you actually were a very early fan of their defense, and now everybody's hopped on the bandwagon because they're just destroying their opponents. But you want to go ahead?
I was gonna say, putting BTA for the PG listeners
Uh-huh, uh-huh.
uh, against the Broncos in Denver by 14 points. I mean, that's like as dominant as you get to beat the 1 seed at home. Oh my
Right.
gosh.
Yeah, that was
And
a huge win for them.
huge win. And the energy, I mean, I will say this. I remember making fun of Liam Cohen in the offseason with his
Dude.
Duval. Or yeah, I got this right here. Jacksonville. What did he say? Duval. I remember laughing at him, and now I'm like, I really gotta like eat my words a little bit. This team looks completely like just like there's like an energy. I was actually in Jacksonville last night, and I wish I could say something cooler than I saw the Everbank actually like the actual bank that they're sponsored by. Like I saw a standalone location. I don't know why I felt like I need to mention
It's a
that.
boring story, dude.
Thanks,
But
man. Um, the point being, I don't know if you saw the video of Trevor Lawrence getting his grills
Yeah.
after the game. I mean, like, this team loves this guy. They love this guy. They are willing to like really go to bat for him. And so I want to pick them because of the that, and obviously their defense and offensive firepower. You know, Brian Thomas Jr., Trevor Etienne has been amazing. But it's like you said, this is the year for Josh Allen. I mean, when else is he going to have a wide open AFC with none of the other top 5 quarterbacks in the league playing in the conference? That's like, I really don't know what to think of this. I think this is going to be a shootout.
The three hottest teams in the NFL, most wins going into the playoffs are the Jags, Texans, and Steelers. Sorry, Steelers. Jesus Christ, Seahawks. The Jags and Texans have 8 and 9 wins in a row, and the Seahawks have 7. So
How many?
it would be kind of crazy, to go against the Jags in these times. But all right, please stop. Also, by the way, I want to point out, Isaac can dropping 40 bombs consistently. They dropped 48 against the Jets, but they've only been dropping 30 bombs consistently.
But still, that's like,
anyway.
come on. That's a lot of points. I really
when
don't know who to pick.
I chose the Bills because I want them to win.
Same.
We're from Florida, and I would be very happy for all my Jags fans friends too. So this is kind of a win-win, but I want Josh Allen to just get one more than anything, where we have all these players in these leagues that never quite reach that top of the mountain. And that doesn't, I really don't think that like rings should have such a huge effect on people's legacies like it seems to in online discourse. And I know Josh Allen will be respected by people our age forever, but I would love if he got the opportunity. And James Cook was the rushing leader this year. Like, they have the team. I know his weapons are kind of lacking, but like the defense is strong too. And so
and as Josh Allen, it doesn't really matter who the receivers are because he will find a way. He has always found a way.
And if you boil it down to just Josh Allen versus Trevor Lawrence, obviously it's Josh Allen, but T-Law has been excellent in such recent months. But anyway, who's your official pick for?
I would say because I already picked the Bills in my other bracket, I'll lean the other way in this one and go Jags.
Okay, I kind of wanted to pick the Bills, so now we're at
do it, man.
Conundrum. Well, we gotta settle on this because this team could win the next round too.
Let's put it this way. I think even if the Bills get past this round, I don't know if they'll beat the Patriots, which is who they would. Actually, I don't know. Wait, if the Bills were to win this round, they go to Denver.
Yeah.
I don't know. This is genuinely.
Right now, according to FanDuel, the Bills are favored in Jacksonville by 1.5. But the odds are dead even. Like, Bills are minus 110, Jags are minus 106, which means that it's a pick-em. There's no way to decide. The teams are too close. If you want to give it to the home field advantage, you could go with Jacksonville. If you want to give it to the streak, the momentum, you can give it to Jacksonville. Jackson has a better defense. But if you want to give it to the quarterback and you want to give it to the story,
and the experience as a team.
Yeah.
Man, this is really, really difficult. This is like a struggle to think about.
I'll go with you on this one. Do you want to do Jacksonville? Because I'm okay with it.
But why do I feel like the Bills are just going to come in there and do take care of business, man? Like,
I know, that's the thing. Like, actually, Bill Simmons mentioned this on his podcast. He said that out of all the first round games, the game that feels like it's the most likely to be a surprising blowout is this game. In either direction, we could see the Jags win, like
the defense goes off and they get defensive touchdowns or whatever. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. Drop 38 points or whatever. Or you could see Josh Allen have that kind of clutch performance that we've seen him have in previous playoffs and win by 14. But this is impossible. So before the podcast, you said we're going to get this wrong no matter what we do. We're just going to set the domino and it's going to ruin it for the other team. But anyway, what's your pick? We'll do it.
Oh, let's do the Bills. Let's do the Bills. Let's do the Bills.
Okay. All
Well,
right, go.
I don't feel good about it, but we have to. Let's just do it.
I don't either, but um, it's okay. It's okay. So,
Okay, to the NFC real quick. Um, Panthers Rams. This one's interesting because we have a little bit of obviously bad blood. The Rams suffered that awful comeback loss against the Panthers where they had confirmed control of the game, and then Bryce Young had a career defining game, probably the biggest game of his career in terms of
yeah.
clutchness and impact, and solidifying him as someone that can make big plays in big moments. Um, I would love to just say, yeah, go Panthers, like awesome. And I could see them putting up a good fight, but I just think the Rams are built too well. They have too many great defensive players that are going to make Bryce Young pay for what he did to them in the earlier week. Um, and again, even though we can talk about the MVP later, Matthew Stafford is undoubtedly playing at an MVP level. Puka, despite losing to Seattle, had an insane stat padding night. I mean, or you know what I mean, stuff the stat sheets. That dude had over 200 yards, I believe.
Mhm.
And I just don't know how you can pick against them.
Yeah, this is. I'm gonna pick the Rams, and with no sort of remorse. The Panthers just tripped their way into the playoffs at 8-9. Shout out to the Buccaneers, who, by the way, did not fire Todd Bowles. So I guess we'll
See another year
see
of the
where that goes
Bulls.
over the next few months. But yeah, that Panthers Rams game was a very fun game. Bryce Young threw for 200 yards and 3 touchdowns. Stafford threw for 240, 2 touchdowns. Um, and it came down to a game-winning touchdown catch from McMillan, who is probably going to be our offensive rookie of the year too. And so
Absolutely.
we have good receivers on both sides, but I just think this, like the Rams' defensive line, and they're just a powerhouse, right? And they've been a Super Bowl favorite for a lot of the year, and
Yep.
even at the 5 seed when they could have been the 1 seed with a few different outcomes, they're still clearly one of the best teams in the NFL. So I think they're going to come out and blow the Panthers out of the water. This spread is pretty high. It's 10 points in favor of the Rams. So, and the Panthers' home field advantage isn't crazy either. So let's just give it to LA.
Yep. For sure. Um, this is probably my like second favorite game of the whole week. Maybe third. Honestly, the Bears Packers game is gonna be pretty great too. Eagles Niners. We got a
Yeah.
banged up Niners team whose fans are now saying that it was because they were banged up that they lost to Seattle. But in weeks prior, when they beat the Bears, they were bragging about how great they were, even with the injuries. I just don't like the Niners, but you know, that's unbiased completely.
I know you don't like them, but I mean, well, how did you think they looked on that Seattle game? Because that was not an impressive showing for the
No,
last game of the season.
I'm not gonna lie. I think more credit is should be given to Seattle and
Yeah,
less taken away from them, if that makes
okay,
sense. Like
sure.
Seattle just looked dominant completely as they have for most of the year. And even in the losses that Seattle's had, I mean, again, it was by a combined 9 points. Like that's pretty crazy. Um, yeah, Seattle's point differential is almost 200 plus 200. Um, so I mean, I think the Niners are going to put up a great fight, but in Philly, like in the cold against that crowd, who that is a home field advantage if we're ever going to talk about one. That has to be up there with Seattle as like one of the best home field advantages in the league.
I will say it. I agree with you, except I I gotta point out that I've seen a lot of clips this year of the Eagles fans billing their own team because they've been so annoyed with them. And so if the Eagles, fall behind by like 14, you're going to see them turn on them. But I agree, nonetheless, the Eagles do have a really strong home field advantage and could be a cold weather game. Um, yeah, I mean, before the Seahawks game, the Niners won 6 in a row, including that like legendary game against the Bears. So they looked excellent in that,
Absolutely.
especially Purdy and like CMC, who I'm sure is going to win an award. But this is a really hard matchup too. This is essentially a toss-up, in my opinion.
I agree, but I think that the deciding factor will be Saquon. Seattle ran all over San Francisco. Um,
True, true.
and we know that Philly has a well, I'm pretty sure they have a pretty stout run defense. I'm not 100%. Don't quote me on that. If you could fact check me on that, that'd be great. But I'm
Okay.
pretty sure they do. And that is what limited the Niners, is because they couldn't get more than 3 or 4 yards to CMC each down. I remember watching that because my dad, because we usually watch the Niners, and CMC will get 6 or 7 yards per carry on early downs. And it sets up the play action, which Brock Purdy thrives in the Shanahan system, which is dumping stuff off, making nice throws over the middle, corner routes, safe throws, but chunk yardage. That couldn't happen because they were facing 2nd and 8, 3rd and 6, like these more longer downs, longer distance downs. So, you know, I'm pretty sure the Eagles defense is pretty decent at stopping the run. Cooper DeJean, and N'Kobe Dean, Jalen Carter, big guys up front, they're really good at just like pummeling people. And at the same time, San Francisco's run defense obviously is not that great because I said Zach is fine, I know him. Kenneth Walker and Zach Charbonnet both I think they combined for over 170 on the ground. I mean, Seattle was carried by that run game because Sam Darnold didn't even throw a touchdown. I mean, he was just kind of
Yeah,
game managing. So I think Saquon will have a big game and kind of remind everybody why he is one of the best in the league. Um, and
hmm
take advantage of a Niners defense that if had Bosa and Fred Warner, we might be having a different conversation right now. But because of the lack of like the IQ and kind of the leadership in the defense, I think that it seems that their run defense has stalled in a sense, if that makes sense. So
I would agree with you. I should no. Philly doesn't have a particularly striking run defense. It's about like 20th, so kind of mid. Um, uh, their passing defense is top 10. And overall, I think their defense is strong, and I think that might be skewed by some recent results. So, I would agree with you though. Most people tend to agree that the like Eagles. I mean, we saw them in the Super Bowl last year. Like that secondary was elite too, and where they were able to stuff the Chiefs. But yeah, I will give it to the Eagles for sure. I'm not too confident, but do you think it's gonna be a low scoring game?
oh dude. I think this is also kind of similar to the Texans Steelers game, where it's not like incredible.
Yeah.
It's not as bad as Seattle versus Niners, but probably in like the mid to upper teens, maybe low 20s in the scoring.
Okay.
That would be my guess. It seems like Philly likes to win these ugly games, and so
Yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah. Maybe like a 17-13, something like that. Who knows?
Yeah, but I think that the Eagles. I think people are sleeping on how experienced this team is, how level headed. Obviously, Jalen Hurts, Mr. Aura farming guy, is in the playoffs. Obviously, a Super Bowl champion, and someone that doesn't get phased by big moments. Like he is a playoff riser, undoubtedly, and
Right.
I think that goes a long way, especially when playing a team so injured. So
Yeah.
okay,
All right. We can give it to the Eagles for sure.
okay, great. Bears Packers. I think we're probably in agreement on this one, right?
Honestly, I don't even know anymore. Like when I saw that the Packers were favored in this game, I was shocked, and then I started just seeing a lot of people discuss like, yeah, this Packers team is underrated, despite all the injuries and the people that they've lost throughout the entire season. They're still a strong team, and frankly the Bears have like shown weaknesses, and I know they've had an excellent season, so I'm very happy for them and our Bears friend fans. But at the same time, I don't really know if I can trust Caleb Williams in this kind of situation. The Bears have lost two in a row going into the postseason. I know they did beat the Packers in overtime recently, but they also split the series and lost to them as well. So um, but I don't know. I mean, I guess I might lean Packers now, but I'm not even confident. So, do you want to convince
I
me?
I'm inclined to pick. Chicago.
Okay.
I'm inclined to pick Caleb Williams. I really like what they have going on. I felt a really really good just excitement from the defense, especially after getting the big win where Caleb had that crazy, like I think it was over 50-yard touchdown pass, crazy throw, crazy catch. Um,
Right.
I I mean I just don't think that the Packers are good enough as a unit to take down this team in Chicago. Um, and I think that home field advantage will play a role here because when's the last time that Chicago has been the one seed in, or not the one seed, but the NFC North champion? It's been a while. It's been a while since they've had a guaranteed home playoff game. Um, I think that makes a difference here, and I think that they'll win. I don't know if it'll be super big or by a super big margin, but I think I mean I remember we reacted and we saw the odds being super skewed, and we were like, "What? How? That doesn't make
Yeah.
any
I
sense."
don't. I'm gonna go with the Bears as well. I think that since losing guys like Kraft and Micah Parsons, even though the Packers were my preseason NFC champion, they've just slipped throughout the season, and I know their division is strong and all that. But fun fact: this is the Packers and Bears have been in the NFL for what 100 years or something. This
Hmm.
is the third time ever that they played in the playoffs. It's
Wow.
insane. Like how odd is that they've barely ever faced, and they're obviously huge rivals. So.
And meanwhile, I can pick like multiple times. It's like, for example, like Seattle has, or like Dallas has played the Packers, or like Seattle has played the Rams in the playoffs, or
Yeah,
the Panthers. Like that's crazy.
yeah. But yeah, the Bears' offense is elite. Um, and interestingly, they are last in turnovers on offense, and they're first in takeaways. So that could be where the difference is. Maybe we see a couple picks go the Bears' way, but I'm happy to pick Chicago
For sure.
and have them move on. So go
Yeah.
back to the AFC.
Okay. Broncos Bills. Whew.
Oh God, this is yeah. I It's really hard to talk about the Broncos right now because they clearly are the best. I mean, they are the best team in the AFC. They won the most games, and they've had really exciting, fun games against a bunch of other teams in the league. Like looking back to the Jags game, which they lost, but even other exciting matchups. And I am a believer in Bo Nix. He was my fantasy quarterback, and I didn't like him as a rookie, but I definitely like him a lot more now. But it's really their defense, which is astoundingly good. And so the question is, can Josh Allen overcome this Broncos defense, which I'll point out is first in sacks, first in touchdowns allowed, like the fewest touchdowns allowed, uh, second best rushing defense. It's just elite. So, do you think Allen is the quarterback that can do it?
I mean, this is definitely the right, like, kind of immovable object, unstoppable force matchup. We got one of
Oh
the
yeah,
quarterbacks who's known for rushing the football, a great red zone passer, the leading rusher in the NFL as the running back. I mean, you can't really have a better matchup of two opposite, uh,
that's a
opposite
good
sides of
point.
the
I
field.
didn't think
Like,
about that. Like the best rushing quarterback and the best running back, or most yards running back, placing against playing against the second best rushing defense. That's crazy.
right. And both of their opposite sides are obviously fine, but they're not really known for that. So I wonder how that's going to fare if it's either going to be a super high scoring game or low scoring. Um, but I think it's going to be one or the other. I don't think it's going to be like a kind of average like 24-20 win. That being said, this also kind of feels like one of those games that Josh Allen could just take over. But I don't know because again, we just picked him to beat the Jags, who also have an
Yeah,
astoundingly great defense. Maybe not the level of the Broncos, but definitely up there.
up there, top five.
And it's exactly what you said. This could go completely either way. I could also see Josh Allen getting stuffed instantly by the leading sacking team in the NFL, uh, just like pummeling him. He pops up a fumble. Does he get a defensive touchdown off of that? And it's the odds are just, like the momentum is just swung. These are
Do
Tough,
you
tough
do
matchups.
you pick the offense or defense? I don't know. And I would say the one other thing is home field advantage is very strong for Denver. The
Mm-hmm.
altitude and everything like that's huge for them, and getting the bye as well. While the Bills just had to play in Jacksonville, so um,
It's a
those
lot
are
of
points.
flying for
Yeah,
Buffalo.
yeah, that would point to uh, Denver. But Bo Nix, he'll be good. I mean, you got guys like Sertan and everything. I don't know.
I kind of am
Playing
leaning towards Denver.
That's fine. That's fine. In my first bracket I had the Broncos, and then my second one I had the Bills. Um, this one I'm content with the Broncos. They are just such a good team, so we can move forward with that. Defense wins championships.
Yeah, I was about to say that is the deciding factor for me. Um, we know that that's the case. Pats Texans, another example of high-powered offense versus
Well,
insane defense.
if I stick with my gut of defense wins championships, then I have to pick against my Pats here.
Mm-hmm.
So, what do you think first? You can go first.
I actually kind of feel like the Pats are going to win, but I think it's going to be because CJ Stroud is going to play not so well.
Okay.
I don't really know if that's just kind of crap, but like Drake May just looks so good.
He is very good.
I think he'll do enough to score maybe a couple touchdowns as an offense, and I don't know if CJ will play well enough to kind of come up for make up the gap.
I agree.
Yeah.
If this is a quarterback matchup, um, it's gonna go to Drake May, and the Pats, by almost all accounts, have a top offense and defense.
Mm-hmm.
Meanwhile, the Texans have the best defense in the NFL, pretty much. Yeah. I
Yep.
don't know. Maybe next to
I
the Broncos or
yep.
Seahawks. But they're like second in points per game, lowest, third in takeaways and everything. But their offense is just average across the board. So um, the thing for New England that most people will bring up in these kind of situations is the schedule. And as a Pats fan, I'm well aware of the fact that the Patriots have had one of the easiest schedules ever. But they play who's in front of them, right? And
Mm-hmm.
they beat almost everyone who's in front of them. And against their opponents, like for example, we went 1-1 against the Bills. We blew that. I promise we choked that second game against the Bills, but I think it's all learning experiences, and even like those losses to the Steelers and really early season the Raiders. Um, I'm confident in May. I can't speak to how good he'll be in the playoffs because we haven't seen it, but I feel like when you watch him play, like he is the kind of guy to have that kind of clutch gene. And the Pats don't have much experience, but frankly, a lot of these Texans don't exactly either. They
Mm-hmm.
have some solid veterans, especially on the defense, but um, yeah, I don't know. Look, we saw Jaden Daniels as a rookie make the NFC Championship last year, right? And so these are both two really young quarterbacks as well. Uh, will one of them lead their team to the AFC Championship? It has to be one of them.
I would also like to point out, I'm just looking at this now, the Texans have a pretty average, almost exactly average, red zone touchdown rate of 56.8%. So, I
Yeah.
mean, obviously, I almost said be that as it may. Be that as it may,
W.
I really think that the Pats will get the ball down the field and get to the red zone and take advantage of that, because otherwise the Texans are
Yeah.
obviously the best defense in the league. But yeah, I really believe in Drake May, and Vrabel has done a great job of turning the
Wait,
organization around. And I also
was it? Sorry, was that the Texans' red zone offense or defense?
defense.
Okay, you go ahead and finish.
I
I'm
was going to say also Vrabel. It's worth mentioning that he has coached when he coached the Titans. They made the playoffs as the 1 seed a few years. They had big games that they won the wild card. I don't know if they ever won a divisional against anyone big. That's not true. They did. They beat the Ravens in Baltimore when Lamar first had his breakout year. So obviously, there's enough experience, I think, from the coaching side of it that has won major playoff games against big teams. that you can be as confident in the Pats as you could be in anybody else in this bracket. So I will pick the Pats gladly with you and help you live out your fantasy or your dreams of the Pats going against the Seahawks.
Okay, I've made my decision. I remember I sent a very long text to you explaining the two biggest problems with the Pats, and one was experience, and the other one was the red zone defense, which is the worst in the NFL. Once teams make their way to the red zone, the Pats cannot. I don't know if this is a coaching problem, defensive coordinator or something, but they cannot figure out how to stop them from scoring touchdowns. They're just last in the league. They allow the most touchdowns. So I checked red zone offense to see if the Texans were really good in that metric. They are not. The Texans are actually third worst. So that is not that. That is one of the only and like most poignant weak points for these Patriots. And the Texans, that's not something they're proficient in. So they can't take advantage of that in situations like that. Like we might see more field goals. So that gives me more confidence to pick the Pats. If you're curious, by the way, the Pats are like dead center 17th for that metric on offense. So yeah, let's do the Pats.
Let's do the Pats. Okay. Two great games. Seattle Rams rematch of week 16.
Yeah.
I think the Seahawks team is just playing with so much confidence right now. I mean, to shut down Christian McCaffrey the way that they did was just jaw-dropping to see. And every single time, especially in the late third quarter and the fourth quarter, I was like, they're going to find a way to drive and score on us now. And then there's just a pass deflection or he gets sacked or I mean, I've watched enough videos about Seattle this year as a Seahawks fan, explaining kind of the genius behind Mike McDonald's defense. And the genius is that every single person on the field is multifaceted in their ability to play different roles. So you see 6 guys line up on the line of scrimmage and then 2 drop off into coverage, but it's not like it's like 2 linebackers or like a corner dropping into coverage. It's the defensive linemen, the big defensive linemen that are playing zones while the corners rush, and they mix up everything. Obviously, I'm very high on Nick Emanwari, who has been playing out of his mind good, and he is probably the runner-up for the Defensive Rookie of the Year award. Having someone like that is kind of like a Swiss Army knife because he plays at all 3 levels. He's kind of like a new and improved version of like a combination of Cam Chancellor and Kyle Hamilton in the McDonald's system. And I don't know if the Rams can really handle that. I mean, the Rams had every reason to win against Seattle in that game. And at that point, Seattle had not proved itself truly against a contender, at least later in the season. That was kind of when Sam Darnold started to cool off and kind of make some more bad decisions. I think it's not going to happen this time. I think Sam's going to keep his cool. I think Seattle with the extra rest is going to just destroy, not destroy, but they're gonna give LA a run for their money. And I can't not pick Seattle as a fan. So
there's certainly concern about whether Darnold has the ability to keep up his level of play throughout the entire playoffs. The Seahawks have no choice but to rely on him to do that. But he's been exactly what they need all season. And with a guy like JSN, you don't need the best quarterback in the league to have a good offense. And then Seattle has an excellent offense, 3rd in points per game. And their defense is first. So, now the Rams obviously have just a superb offense, including potential Offensive Player of the Year and MVP. I'm curious, do you think there's any issue with Seattle's run game? Charbonnet and Kenneth Walker. Like, do you think that's going to be a problem for them against a team like the Rams?
I could see why why one would think yes, but they just completely like took over against San Francisco, and I think they're just playing with too much energy right now. It's kind of the same 1-2 punch in a different kind of font that we saw in Detroit last year that was making them so dominant. I mean, it's not that level of dominance. That's high praise. But, I mean, the concept is there. And Seattle likes to run these sets where they have a fullback in or they do 12 personnel where they have 2 tight ends and then the running back. And so it kind of sets them up for success because having an elite kind of two pair of receivers with Cooper Kupp and JSN, and then having 2 tight ends in kind of makes it unpredictable for what Seattle's going to do. Because with 2 tight ends, you could easily just do run plays, but they often go play action and kind of dump it off, or have like a levels concept where they have multiple people running routes in the same direction, but at different stages of the defense. So one's running like a 30-yard route versus a 15-yard route. One's like a dump off in the flat. I just think that with how well they're playing, the energy of that combined with the level of game planning that Clint Kubiak has going, which is Sam Darnold kind of just game manages, doesn't make any bad decisions, just kind of dumps it off, checks his options, makes his progressions. I think it's not going to matter. And I think the run game is going to go fine. I think it's going to set up the pass game super well. I might be a little bit biased, but I don't see any way Seattle loses this.
Anyway, all right. Well, the Rams and Seahawks are the 2 best favorites, quote unquote, for the Super Bowl. Despite being a 5 seed, it seems to be that if this matchup comes in the second round, divisional, then it will probably be for the Super Bowl, according to a lot of experts. And so this could be the best game in the playoffs. I mean, I certainly think that that Thursday night game was the best game in the season, but I'm happy to go with the Seahawks to do it again.
Thanks, man.
But well, I guess we'll see. That would be a sad dagger episode if they lose.
Yeah, that would be a really rough episode. I mean, it's just, I say it's just sports. It is just sports, but this is looking more and more like it's going to be our year. And that is a really great feeling as a fan, you know?
Hey, man, I want nothing more than a Seahawks-Pats rematch. It would just be
cinema. And then this time Drake May throws a pick at the goal line.
You know what? If I hear another intercept at the goal line and then you get to use it on me, I think it's only fair. I've been
for the next 10 years, even though I didn't know you 10 years ago. Okay.
Those are adding interest.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right. Let's do Seahawks, and then this next game, dude. I don't know. Bears Eagles. This is a really tough pick. I think I'm probably just gonna lean Eagles.
Same here.
Yeah, on like the experience, the defense. If the Bears don't lose to the Packers defense, which is like solid but without Micah a little bit worse, against this Eagles defense, it's gonna be rough.
Yeah.
And I know the Bears have home field advantage, but I just can't in good conscience pick Caleb Williams to make the NFC Championship. I just don't believe in him that much. So
yeah.
I'll go with the Eagles.
Do you think Jalen Hurts will rise to the occasion playing against Chicago has a really great cornerback and some pretty solid defensive players. Do you think it'll be, this is kind of a obvious question, but do you think it'll be the Eagles defense that really wins it, or do you think that it'll be that the Eagles offense is able to actually put up some points and really show that they're not just a defensive powerhouse?
That is a good question. I agree. I think it's mostly in the Eagles territory. I'm just going to default to the Eagles defense. The Bears have a great offense. They've had a 5th to 10th offense throughout the season. And Caleb Williams has had some terrible games, and he's had mostly excellent games. And I think this Eagles D has been consistent throughout the season versus their offense, which has just looked really, really ugly. We've seen multiple games now where the Eagles have no passing yards in the second half. And they just look slow out there. Not fun to watch. I know that they have Saquon and everything, and they're a good receiver duo, but there have been games where Hurts looks, very disappointing. The Super Bowl MVP, I'm sure he's going to come out and do his best to fight for his city and prove his worth and all that. But I will give it to the Eagles mostly on the basis of the defense. If this was another matchup, I might lean more on the like advantage on the run game or something like that. But the tush pushes and everything. But I give it to Philly for that.
Just also going to point out, the Bears have allowed 49 touchdowns this year, and
Yeah.
average giving up almost 362 yards per game. So this is definitely the right kind of momentum game for Jalen Hurts and the offense to kind of get something going, going into hopefully what would be for them their NFC Championship game against Seattle, which they will definitely need that momentum.
Cool.
If I do say so myself. Broncos Pats. This is like a rematch of the Super Bowl 50 year where there was a crazy rushing touchdown. I can't remember the name of the guy, but he took it to the house against the Patriots in overtime for Peyton's last year in the NFL. So great history between these two teams. I really, again, don't know who to pick. It's like overwhelming offense versus overwhelming defense.
Hey, man, Drake May is closer to Tom Brady than Bo Nix is to Peyton Manning. That's all I'll say.
But the Broncos defense is closer to the no-fly zone than the Patriots defense is to. They don't even have a defensive nickname because they're not. They were never known for that.
See, both of the brackets I did not have Broncos Pats as the AFC Championship. I think one of them, because both of them, I was like, I can't pick the Pats. Like, I'm sorry, I want the Pats to win, obviously, but like, I'm gonna just pick against them so I don't jinx myself. And so in both, I had either the Texans or the Bills. So anyway, in terms of this dude, like, I'm probably just gonna lean not picking the Pats because I'm afraid, and I'm not really worried about the Pats like not being our year. Like, I think the Pats are very excellent, and I'm very happy about the turnaround. But we have a championship window that's just opening now, and I guess I'm thinking about it more in NBA terms because like in the NBA, like if you're a good team who makes it to the playoffs, like the Magic or something, like you're not concerned about winning the championship because you know you don't really have a chance. But the NFL playoffs is only 4 games, and any team can win if everything breaks right. And the Pats have been one of the best complete teams in the league. But in terms of the experience, in terms of the Broncos' defense, this will be the Pats going on the road, having to play in the Mile High Stadium. Like, I will just lean with the Broncos and their dominant, secondary and a kind of attack on that end. But
yeah,
do you agree with me, or do you think the Pats can show
I'm
strength?
so sorry, dude. I'm really sorry. Like
Yeah,
it comes from the bottom of my heart. I'm really sorry. They're not beating the Broncos.
we'll see, I
The
guess, but I
the
would agree with you.
there's just too much dominance. Like this is just like a team that is like I could just see them starting to stifle Drake May. Sorry, Drake May at the beginning of the game, and it just kind of being unrecoverable at some point. And I'm sure he'll make a comeback attempt, but I think the Broncos are going to jump out to an early lead, and kind of just take it over. And again, this is fine. I mean, both of these teams are going to be going at it for the next probably 6-7 years. So just definitely the start of a rivalry that will continue to kind of take over the AFC, in my opinion, because these teams, along with Jacksonville, maybe Houston, if they get some better offensive stuff going, are going to be the preeminent teams in the next 5, 6, 7 years. So I think I would take the Broncos for sure.
Okay, that's completely fair. I mean, the only thing I kind of go to is like the Broncos have only one loss in the last few months, and it was to the Jags. And in that game, I think that Denver showed that they can bleed. Like they had some drops and some turnovers, and
It's
just
possible.
different possible mistakes. And so, although I think the Jags defense and Patriots defense are on kind of similar levels, um, I'm just I'm a bit concerned about the Pats making the AFC. Like, I don't think the Pats will make the Super Bowl, and so just thinking about it in terms of that, and thinking about how Denver only needs to win 2 games and New England needs 3. We can choose the 1 seed. That's fine with me.
And on the other side, I'm definitely choosing the other 1 seed. I mean, in Seattle's the loudest stadium in the league, NFC Championship game for the first time since they lost to the Patriots. Is that right? I think it's been since 2015 that the Seahawks have not been in the NFC Championship.
I don't know, but that seems right. You would know better than me.
I actually think that is right, which is kind of sad. But well, I mean, they just they're better than Philly, or maybe on par with Philly defensively. Although I would put Seattle over them defensively. Obviously, having the offensive player of the year, a pretty decent running game that's top 10 in yards per game, um, and the chemistry that just is like just so strong. There's no ego clashing. That definitely did, I feel like, start to derail Seattle. I mean, not in the same way as like a complete ego battle where the people don't like each other, but like I don't know. I just
Yeah,
think that like there's not like the problems that happen that have plagued Seattle in the past, where it's like head coach and quarterback don't align with their philosophies, and it becomes like an issue for the team. Sam Darnold is perfectly happy to do whatever Mike McDonald wants him to do. The defense is like a crazy great energy. They're all like smiles on the sideline.
yeah.
It's beautiful. It's so beautiful. I'm so excited. I'm so excited for a Broncos Seattle Super Bowl.
That would be one of the best outcomes possible. I definitely will pick Seattle in this matchup too, and the Eagles are good. But I'm just gonna lean with Seattle. Very, very strong offense, and the D and the home field advantage too. The travel for Philly that they have to make. So I guess we're ending up
Whoa.
with the final that most people could have predicted. Denver, Seattle, and I'm not gonna lie, Rajan, I'm not the only problem I have with our bracket is that it's kind of chalk. Like, for a fact, this won't be right. We'll get multiple games wrong in every round. But like, even though we pick, like, for example, the Bills and Texans to win, like those teams are both favored. So are the Rams, and we don't really have too many hot takes or anything. So I don't know if you want to change anything. Like, one thing that I could change is like the Texans beating the Patriots, maybe. But like, besides everything else, I'm like happy with.
Well, in a bracket I actually just made, I had the Jags beating the Bills and the Texans
Mhm.
beating the Patriots, and I had then both advancing in this next round. I guess it would have been the Texans beating the Broncos and the Jags beating the Patriots, and so I had a
See,
Jags Texans AFC Championship.
yeah, that's probably equally as plausible as the one we just made.
So, um, I I mean, I guess my gut was to pick the Jacksonville over the Bills, but I kind of just had to give it to Josh Allen, story wise. Um, and at the end of the day, it is just a bracket. I don't think there's anything wrong with going kind of with the grain in this way, um, because it's not like we're just hitting yes on the 1, the 2, and the 3 seed each time.
That's true.
And we also know 100% LA can just come into Seattle and just destroy us. Like, we know
Yeah,
that has happened in the past. It could totally happen now. Um, for all we know, the Chargers could beat the Patriots at home. We really don't know what's going to happen, and that's not even
true.
rage bait. I mean, honestly, like, all of these teams definitely have the potential to at least make it to the next round, um, the divisional. So I think it's okay if we leave it as it is. Is there anything you want to change?
No, I'm okay with it. I mean, this is a bracket that we built together, and I'm sure we won't be perfect, but we've come
We'll
down
be
to the final.
family.
We've come down to the final decision. Um, Harkening back to May of 2025 when we did an NBA bracket, or must have been April. Yeah. Um, we had Celtics Thunder in the finals, and you can successfully convince me to choose the Thunder, which did end up being the champion. Even though I was pretty confident in my Celtics to go back to back, and I didn't want to pick the obvious heavy favorite. And here we are with your Seahawks as the odds-on favorite to win the Super Bowl, and we have them in a matchup against hypothetically the best AFC team. So, do you want to pick your team? I'll let you have the floor.
Thank you, Secretary Jefferson. I think it has to be Seattle, and I think it's just going to be amazingly overwhelming. I think it's not going to be by Sam Darnold. I don't even know if Sam Darnold will get the MVP. I think it'll either be in Jigba or a defensive player that has a monster game, sacks, interceptions, past like forced fumbles. I just think it's going to be a slugfest. Kind of the same way that Seattle won the first Super Bowl, where the first play, the snap went over Peyton Manning's head and it was a safety. And that just set the tone for what was a dominant showing. I think Seattle's going to destroy Denver.
You're picking a Super Bowl blowout Seattle win.
Yes, I am.
You heard it here first, ladies.
We got to remember as well. Obviously, Denver's pretty close to Santa Clara, but Seattle's even closer, and Seattle's fan base extends into the Bay Area and into the West Coast as a general. Sure. So I think the home field advantage in that sense will definitely be leaning towards Seattle. It's not going to be drastic because Denver again is not that far, but I mean,
yeah, it's not bad travel for either team.
But I think Seattle's going to destroy them, and I think that it's not going to be close.
Okay, yeah, I don't have any crazy takes about this. This would be one of the best, two of the best teams in the NFL facing off against each other. I think this is one of the best matches we could ask for. I think like when the NFL is advertising this game, they're not going to have a lot of fun putting Bo Nix and Sam Darnold on the posters, but we don't need like necessarily like superstar quarterbacks and everything. And the Broncos have an extremely complete and well-rounded team. But Seattle with JSN and their extremely dominant defense, and assuming they can make it through, say, the Rams, and assuming the Broncos can make it through a team like the Texans, right? Or no, we haven't played the Bills, but like the Bills and Pats.
Yeah.
I firmly believe in both to win, but I'm very happy to go with my friend here, Seattle.
Thank you very much. I think you want to put the time out. How many points do you think is going to be scored in the total playoffs on the ESPN thing?
Well, there's 13 games, and so what do you want to pick as the average number of points? Like 40, 45?
Yeah, 35? Somewhere around there. I think I worked like the math I worked out to average to about 600 points on average for a game, or like for the 13 games. Somewhere around there. So I picked a little over that. I think I picked like 620 on my first one. I'll do 670 just for the
670 is too high, respectfully, because 670 divided by 13 is 51. So that means pretty much every game is going to be like 28, 21 type. I'm going to go
maybe like 647.
I'm going to go 13 times 45, which is 585. So I'll do 588.
So then I'll go 626.
Okay, cool. That's fine with me.
Okay. I hope I win money.
You certainly will.
I hope so. By the way, guys, I am studying abroad next semester. I'm not sure if I really should disclose where I'm going to be. Although I guess I can. I'm going to be in Milan, and it's a sports journalism program by UF that's kind of for the Winter Olympics. So hopefully I'll have some information for you guys, and we can talk through some of the Winter Olympic games and kind of talk about, curling and skiing and these sports that we really don't talk about and know much about. I mean, I certainly don't know the rules of curling. I just kind of see cool clips of like skiers or the sport Ramsey and I were talking about where like the people like jump off mountains and it's like they're like gliding in the air for a little bit and they come back down, they land the jump. I don't know the rules. I don't know anything about how those sports work. It's a whole different world, let alone like figure skating and stuff like that. So for sure it'll be cool. But no matter what the Super Bowl is, I will be waking up at I'll just stay up. It'll probably be at 1 a.m. in Milan time on Super Bowl Sunday, or I guess Super Bowl Monday for me. And I'll be tuning in for sure with my Seahawks jersey on. So should be a great time. I'm excited to watch this playoffs. Again, this is going to be the most exciting playoffs I think I have seen in at least probably 7 years. So very excited.
Had to get one more. Yeah, I mean, since Brady retired, and he was my go-to guy. And again, I'm not a bandwagon. I grew up in New England, but I'm very happy that my Pats are back. And honestly, if our bracket was Pats Seahawks just for the hell of it, that would have been fun too. Our co-host Dylan, we didn't say this at the beginning, but he's busy with work today, so he couldn't drop in. But he's a huge Texans fan, so honestly, this playoffs is likely to shake out well for somebody in this trio. But yeah, I'm excited.
Yeah.
All right, yeah. I want to quickly hit our last subject.
Awards. Let's do the awards.
Our NFL awards ballot. These results will be revealed in the next month or so. So Raja and I will see how we do. But I think there's 7 awards to be handed out. So let's just go through them one at a time.
6 or 7 of them, I think, because I don't know if we're going to count. No, I guess we can count all of them. The Protector of the Year. So you want to start with the rookies?
Sure, yeah. So let's do a Defensive Rookie of the Year. Who do you got?
So I've been convinced now that it's Schwessinger. Is that how you say it?
Schwessinger on the Browns.
Schwessinger.
Yeah.
But I have to give a shout out to my guy, Nicky Manwari, who I will probably buy a jersey of if he doesn't commit any crimes. And, I like to make sure that the people that I wear jerseys of are like good people, like Bobby Wagner, great dude, left the community service, So as long as Manwari proves that he's not like Charvarius Ward or like just like a crap talker, I'm buying a jersey of his because I love his game. This guy plays all 3 levels of the defense. He hustles. He makes insane, pass deflections while also tackling like a madman in the run open field. He has, I think, been the reason that Seattle has been so great because in the McDonald's system, you got to have at least one guy that can do it all because then it makes the system of having the corners do the jobs of the linebackers and the defensive ends doing the jobs of not the safeties, but you get my point. They're all rotational. Having someone that can kind of do all of it makes those rotations a lot easier. And Manwari has kind of been the piece that Seattle was missing. Obviously, it helped getting big, defensive stars like DeMarcus Lawrence in the offseason, the rise of other defensive stars like Boye Mafe, Drake Thomas, our undrafted linebacker free agent who caught that interception at the end of the Niners game off of a CMC tip. The Seahawks' success should be attributed to a lot of different players, but I think it's worth mentioning that these awards sometimes, I feel like the NFL and the NBA is also definitely a culprit of this as well. Like sometimes they'll give the awards to the person on the team that's winning and dominating, and sometimes they'll give it to the person on the team that's not good, but that's making them somewhat okay. And so in this case, it's kind of the same thing because the Browns are abysmal, but they have a great rookie. Seattle is dominating and they have a great rookie. I think the discourse that I have read and consumed would lead me to believe that Schwessinger does deserve it, but I gotta give a shout out to Manwari. I'm sure at some point in his career he will be a defensive player of the year, at least candidate. So
yeah, Schwessinger as a linebacker is one of the best tacklers in the NFL, and I mean he's right next to Myles Garrett, who I'm sure we'll both pick for DPOY, but like he has really excellent stats. The only other person that I would give a shout to, who I probably would have picked like 3 months ago or so, is Abdul Carter. And obviously he's been dominating. His pressures have been excellent for the Giants, but Giants as a team and as a defense aren't as interesting to me. So we'll give it to the 2nd-round pick for the Browns. He's a heavy favorite anyway, so he's probably got it locked up. But easy pick.
for the offensive rookie of the year, Ramsey, where are you think? I'm sure we talked about this already. I think we have the same pick.
Yeah, I think that there are a few guys in the running. I think most likely it will be between the 2 NFC South candidates, Tyler Shuck on the Saints, who is probably the best rookie quarterback. If maybe Jackson Dart, but Dart's his injury concerns have been a little and I think at the end of the season, Shuck has proved that he's elevated the Saints beyond their floor and gave them enough wins to the point where he's looked like very strong. And the other guy is McMillan, Tedero McMillan on the Panthers, who is one of the best receivers in the NFL. And The other people that I would give a shout out to is Dart, who I mentioned, and RJ Harvey on the Broncos, who Dylan is madly in love with because he comes from UCF. So shout out to him. But my pick is going to be McMillan. I'm not going to sit here and pretend like I thought that McMillan was going to be dominant. I did not predict his success going into the year. I thought, like my guy, Travion Henderson, for example, was going to have a better season. But Ted has been, he was the only rookie to have over 1,000 rushing or receiving yards. And he finished the season with all these excellent stats: 27 yards for 369, 27 catches for 369 yards on third and fourth down. So he's consistently been there for the Panthers, a playoff team, when they need him. And I'm just going to lean with him. I think you picked Ted as well.
Absolutely. And I want to give a little shout out to our friend Lennon, who definitely said during the draft that he wanted to pick Ted because of how good he was going to be. Absolutely was right. I did not watch Ted in college, and I had no idea what behemoth of a receiver we were going to be dealing with in the NFL. Um, I think it's like kind of de facto if a rookie breaks 1,000 yards, either rushing or receiving, unless someone else has also done that, they're kind of just. I mean, there's no better metric than what you've contributed, like quantitatively to a team when it comes to receiving yards. Like impact is hard because you could argue like let's say someone has less yards but they've made more big plays in big games. Well, you could say the person with more yards has actually done more because they have more yards. Um, but in this case, it's got to be Ted. This is a playoff bound receiver who could absolutely give the Rams a little bit of trouble. I think that there's a chance that the Panthers show some fight and maybe even escape with some kind of win. We don't know. I mean, that also could just be a Rams blowout, like we probably think it's going to be. But it's worth mentioning that that stat about the third and fourth down thing is really, really, really interesting, and makes it sets a stage for a good opportunity for him to prove himself in the playoffs against a juggernaut. So, with that being said,
Absolutely.
definitely Ted.
All right, cool. So I guess let's just do Protector of the Year quickly. This one is the toughest because I just unfortunately am not super tuned in to the many offensive linemen around the league. I guess based on the options that I've read and who the leaders are, I'm potentially leaning towards Sewell on the Lions, but there's a lot of great options out there. We have like the excellent center on the Dolphins, Aaron Brewer, or the tackle, obviously the legendary Trent Williams for Rajan's rival Niners. Who are you leaning, Rajan?
I think I would give it to Trent out of respect for him because of how dominant he's been for his whole career. But I really don't know enough about them. I'm kind of just going based off of name. I would put Panay right there as well. But again, Trent has like kind of dominated. People consider him to be the best tackle ever to play the game. So
Okay, we can pick him just for out of respect, but full disclosure, we're now experts in that category.
no, we are not.
But we are in every other category. So
That's exactly right.
let's do comeback player of the year. Who do you got?
This one's pretty straightforward. I thought that this is more of like a coming back from injury rather than a most improved player award. So
Yeah,
I'm gonna give it to
point,
McCaffrey.
Yeah, for the NFL, it basically is, and so it has to be CMC. Most improved is probably someone like Trevor Lawrence, who has really redeemed himself and shown that he's worth the contract he's got. But
Taking the next step too as like a leader.
right. And even Philip Rivers, some guy who retired and came back and did serviceable work for the Colts and helped them get a win. I think one win, right? They still went 1-7 in the second half of the season. So
Yeah.
he was okay. But
I mean, Seattle couldn't score a touchdown on them, and they almost won.
Fun fact, by the way, Sauce Gardner, right? He got traded. The Colts spent a first round pick on him when they were, I don't know, what they were 7-2 or something. They spent 2 first round picks and then immediately plummeted, and now they're not even in the playoffs. So those picks were very costly for them. But anyway, out of every NFL team, the worst team had 3 wins. Sauce Gardner himself had 2 wins because he got traded from the Jets to the Colts, who did worse. So Yeah, there you go. Shout out Sauce. Anyway,
Coach of the year. This is a good one.
this is
I
a very fun
would
conversation.
love to hear what you think.
Sure. So I think there's honestly a lot of coaches that like many other years would deserve to be in this conversation. I think we have so many different leaders at the top of the pyramid. Like, for example, both of our coaches need to be in this conversation. We have Mike Vrabel, who has turned the Pats around immediately from worst to best in the division. He's established such an incredible winning culture. I mean, I like watching the locker room videos for the Pats. And Vrabel's a serious dude, and guys like Drake May and Will Campbell and the rookies and even our more experienced linemen or whatever, and Gonzalez, like they're all bought into this mentality that Vrabel has brought with him, and he's a former Patriot, and so just that I think helps build this culture, and so. Um, but the Patriots themselves, I guess, had an easy schedule-ish, according to a lot of people, and so I don't know if that should be taken away from Vrabel's success. But Mike McDonald, I'll let you talk about him. He's had an incredible turnaround. And then I think the other top contenders are Liam Cohen for the Jags. Arguably, the Jags turnaround is much more impressive than the Patriots because they kind of had a similar record last year. And remember, they picked Travis Hunter, and they came to the top of the AFC South. And they, in the last couple months, they have looked incredible and better than the Pats at a lot of times. As well as Ben Johnson for the Bears. This whole worst to first in your division is pretty much guaranteed to get you in this conversation. And then the other guy who I probably would say could be in it is Shanahan, but I'm not really interested in him anymore
Mm.
because the Niners didn't win their division, and so they're not as exciting. But
Yeah, I was gonna say the thing that makes McDonald stand out. Obviously, he's done this defensive turnaround where he makes a team go from pretty bad, like bottom 10 in the league in their DVOA, to
yeah,
first twice. He's done it twice in the
right.
last
He
within
did it for
3 years
the
of being on a
Ravens
team.
too.
Yeah, with the Ravens, right? And a lot of credit has to be given to John Schneider for drafting super well, but McDonald is part of that. I mean, he was the head coach when they drafted Eamon Wari and Gray Zabel, who is our star offensive lineman. I almost said Vrabel. Um, I think the other argument for McDonald is the only division in football to have 3 teams in the playoffs is the NFC West, and McDonald has managed to lead a Seahawks team to beat both the Niners and the Rams and claim the 1 seed.
Mm-hmm.
That's the only coach in this conversation that's claimed the 1 seed with his unit. That being said, you can't really ignore. I mean, you can't blame Vrabel for having an easy schedule because the same easy schedule, I mean, in some part, is the Patriots got destroyed by these teams last year. So
I know it's fair. He
it's
took a team that was bad and was given an easy schedule and won as many games as possible, right?
right. I mean, you can't fault him for that. Liam Cohen was ridiculed in the offseason for being corny and not knowing how to say Duval. And he's turned this team into the juggernaut that beat the 1 seed, or would be 1 seed, on their home turf by 2 touchdowns.
Mm-hmm.
And this team is just formidable on both sides of the ball. So I think for me, it's more between McDonald and Vrabel, the 2 Mikes.
Yeah.
I don't really know who to pick. I think this is another example of kind of the Shea Jokic debate where it's takes a terrible team and makes them amazing, or takes a team and makes them incredible. Although it's not the same because the Seahawks were already kind of. I mean, the Seahawks only won 4 more games this year than they did last year. It's worth mentioning, or 3 more games. I mean, granted, the scope of those games is much larger. Seattle's only lost by a combination of 9 points all year in 3 losses, which is absolutely ridiculous. But you really can't get any better than winning 9 more games and flipping your schedule. How many times can you say a coach has made their loss category their win category?
I don't know. It's probably happened the other way around too.
Yeah.
But yeah, I'm gonna fight very hard for a Patriots person in another category very soon. So I'm okay with surrendering this to McDonald because I think what he's done, especially in the defense and the winning culture, and having such an efficient offense with a quarterback who's not, a top end talent necessarily like Drake May, is really impressive. And in terms of penalties and everything, the Seattle has been good too, and game management. I think McDonald's one of the best, but so is Vrabel. And
It's a
right
toss up
now,
for me too, man. I really don't. I can't just say it's McDonald's like that.
we should, as the Dagger, we are just happy that our two coaches are the ones that we're having this conversation about, and so we can just we don't maybe we don't even have to pick. We can just say we're both happy that our two are our favorites.
I'll go
I
with
would
that too.
predict that Vrabel will win, but if I don't really care who does, like it's both deserve. So
Yeah, absolutely. I'm good with leaving it as a TBD.
yeah, we're
Awesome.
good with that. Yeah,
DPOI. This should be easy. Myles Garrett.
he broke the sack record. There's no other conversation to be had. There are a lot of good defensive players in the league, but I mean, come on.
I will say I did see a question where it was like they had these 4 defensive players and you have to pick one to remove, and it was Lawrence Taylor, Aaron Donald, Myles Garrett, and JJ Watt, and you got to remove one. Most people seem to be saying Myles Garrett. I mean,
Yeah,
Lawrence Taylor is the greatest defensive player ever.
I was gonna say Gary. I mean, JJ Watt's peak was pretty much an MVP season, and Aaron Donald is probably the greatest at that position too. So I don't
Yeah,
know. Like it's also a bias. Like we tend to give more respect to retired players and not like recognize current players in the all time realms that they belong in.
yeah.
But that's tough competition to put Garrett up against.
But I think Garrett could get towards that point at the end, towards the end of his career. He's only in the
Sure.
first 6, 7 years of his career. So, I mean, maybe 8, 9. He's definitely moving towards that level of GOAT status. This is a fun question to have.
Okay.
OPOY, I think this is also pretty clear cut. I think it has to be JSN.
I don't know.
Huh.
I was pretty firm on JSN, but I can give you a pretty good case for Puka. I think that like when you, I think that when you watch the game, sometimes Puka just looks like the most impressive receiver in the NFL. I think he's made more like spectacular catches. He does have a better quarterback, so that's something to note. And his yards after catch are elite too. But this is pick your poison. Or I don't know. They're both two of the best players in the entire league.
The
Right
point about
now,
oh yeah, go ahead.
JSN seems to have pretty much locked it up. So picking JSN would be the rational thing to do. But Puka has made Stafford look like the MVP. Like firmly believe that Puka is really really helping his case there, and so we can give it. He deserves to be in the conversation too. But you want to talk about JSN real quick?
Well, actually, no. I was gonna say you can make a good point. In all the games that I've watched with Puka, all the Rams games I've watched, he has just looked like he's the guy. He kind of looks the energy is the same as like prime LeBron James, where like if they just
Sure. No, I get you. Yeah.
you get what I'm saying? Like they
Yeah,
throw
where
the ball to him and you know where
he's
it's
the
happening.
show. Yeah, the team revolves around him, and every time he gets the ball, you just feel like he's making that catch, he's making that grab. Moves that people are doing that like 50 years ago would have been like the play of the century. But um,
Honestly, I actually think that you've convinced me, even though I was already kind of willy nilly because JSN statistically has obviously had a better season, but also Puka has played less games, and Puka absolutely went in against Seattle. I mean, like over 200 yards, 2 touchdowns, clutch play after clutch play after clutch play.
I was gonna say in that one matchup specifically, Puka really outplayed JSN.
Yeah,
So
and obviously, by any metric against a normal receiver, JSN played amazing, but he's playing the what I believe is the best receiver in the NFL. The question is, did he do enough to win the award? Um, And I think you're right that JSN will win the award in terms of actually predicting someone to win the award. But I think that you're also correct in saying that Puka is the best receiver in the NFL. And by that metric, the best offensive player of the league. Because there wasn't a running back this year that was stand out the same way that Puka was stand out. James Cook was great, but he wasn't Puka.
Yeah, I'm not giving it to Cook. By the way, just in terms of stats, JSN and Puka effectively the same number of yards. JSN has like 80 more. They both have 10 touchdowns. Their yards per game, since they're so close, is pretty much the same. JSN did play one more game than Puka, so that probably helped him gain the lead on the yards. JSN has a few more fumbles. But yeah, this is what I was talking about. Puka's yards after catch is, yikes. The devil number 666. Okay, well, maybe I can't vote for him. But anyway, JSN's yards after catch is 528. So, like
in less games.
Yeah, in fewer games, and he had that much of an advantage. And so, but again, you're right. Like in an NBA kind of thing, like I know the best player in the world is Jokic, but in certain situations, I might not vote for him for MVP. In this kind of thing, I think Puka is the best receiver. And even with his off the field shenanigans, but JSN is on the best team, and so and without JSN, what the Seahawks like? I mean, how good would they be? Like,
I mean, if Cooper Kupp was our number one option, or Jake Bobo, like I really don't know if we'd be anywhere near where we are. JSN has made even like we're just to be clear, everyone. I'm a Seahawks fan. We're not discounting how great JSN has played this year and how many clutch catches. Just because Puka's made more doesn't mean that he hasn't made any. He's made countless plays. The Seahawks would not be anywhere. I mean, you could argue that the Rams would still be pretty decent with Devontae as their lead receiver and pretty decent-ish skill set of players, skill position-wise. So I think you're right.
There's some solid tight ends too.
That keep destroying me in fantasy because I'll start the Seahawks guy and then Cody Parkinson will go off. I'll switch it off and then nothing. Anyways, we'll give it to JSN but Puka in our hearts, which sounds weird to say considering his off the field shenanigans.
My official prediction is JSN, but I think Puka probably deserves it. So whatever. I'm happy with both. Another one. Toss up.
And now we come to the category.
Do we really make it? Yeah, I think we got through all of them. You're right. All right. Well, it is the most valuable player award, and there have been many ups and downs throughout the season. I mean, like 4 months ago, people were on some Baker Mayfield BS, and we got Danny Dimes
and Sam Darnold.
Sam Darnold, Josh Allen was heavy in the race.
Mahomes even.
If I was a bettor, I probably would have bet Josh Allen at some point, just because the quarterbacks he was up against didn't probably on paper are not as good as him. And in the playoffs, I think Josh Allen is the best quarterback. But the two clear, obvious leaders are Matthew Stafford and Drake May. So you can imagine where I might lean. But do you want to go first, Rajan?
I actually was gonna say Matt Stafford, but I just remembered something. Where the heck would the Patriots be without Drake May?
And that, I think, it might be one of the best arguments for them. And I think swap them, right?
Right.
The Pats with Stafford don't win the division. I'm sure about that. The Patriots' offensive line is garbage compared to the Rams.
And Matt Stafford doesn't move the way he used to.
Yeah, Stafford as a quarterback is less valuable because he can't run like Drake May does. And Drake May is no Josh Allen or Lamar or anything, but he's way more mobile. Drake May is the most accurate passer in the NFL, and his weapons are terrible. And that's what people are kind of discounting. And I understand that. Obviously, if you have Devontae Adams and Puka, you need a quarterback for them. And Matthew Stafford, if he had worse receivers, he would still do well. But I think if you give Drake May, Puka, if you give him Devontae, the Patriots would be 16-1.
I'm not gonna lie. If Drake May swapped to the Rams and had that level of defense, had Kobe Turner having his back on defense, and then at the same time he gets to have his skill. Obviously, the running backs are comparable, ish. They're not too far out of scope. But you tell Puka probably breaks 2,000 yards in the year if Drake May as his quarterback in LA with that setup for him.
Yeah.
I think it's undoubtedly. I don't know. The odds seem like it's going to be leaning towards Matt Stafford, right? But it's still pretty close.
I know it's devastating, but it is really close. It's still up in the air even after the final week of the season, which is kind of crazy. But there are like some things to note. Like Drake May, for example, leads the NFL in completion percentage and in something else important. I forget what it was. It might be like QB rating or something like that. And all the previous times that player has led in those categories, they have won the MVP. At the same time, Stafford has a ridiculous lead in total number of touchdowns, right? Um, if you just look at touchdowns, Stafford has 46, and the next highest is Goff at 34, but May is at 31. So if you want, you can stop the conversation there, right? Okay, yeah. 46 versus 31, that is ridiculous, and that is a massive lead. But I got to point something out to you, okay?
Mm-hmm. Well,
Matthew
point it out
Stafford.
to me, man. Point it out to me.
Matthew Stafford has had 8 or you know what? Let's do this. Yeah. Matthew Stafford has had 11 1 or 2 yard touchdowns. And look, every touchdown is worth 6 points, okay? So I'm not going to sit here and argue like a 2 yard touchdown or 1 yard touchdown is like way less impressive than a 30-yard touchdown or whatever.
Well, impressive.
Stafford is,
It is definitely less impressive for
oh,
sure.
okay. Or important. That's what I meant.
Important, yeah,
Like
sure.
Stafford, I'm sure he has a similar amount of passes that are like deep touchdowns too. But the Rams as an offense, when they're in that close to the red zone, they're like, second and goal or something from the 3 yard line. They just don't give it to Kyren Williams. And if they do, they immediately go to a short pass for Stafford. And I also want to mention that Stafford was low-key stat padding against the Cardinals in the last game, which pissed me off. And he threw multiple short touchdown passes. But yeah, of his huge lead, sure, yeah. Does he have 15 more touchdowns than Drake May? Absolutely. But you know what he also has? He also has 11 or 2 yard touchdowns. May has 5. So if you eliminate all of those, and again, I'm not going to sit here and argue like they are just meaningless because they're not. And like, think about 2 yard, like 2 point conversions and everything too. Like it's important to be a good passer that close to the end zone, but the Rams like that, just using that like touchdowns, like and ending the argument there, uh, gets rid of the picture, like, and all these other elements. And I have some other things to bring up, but do you have any comment on that?
I was just going to say, I just checking the amount of total passing and rushing touchdowns combined. The actual difference between the Patriots have 5 more rushing touchdowns than the Rams. And again, if you said 10 of those, no, 5 of those are 1 or 2 yard touchdowns for Matt Stafford, is that right?
No, for Drake May, he has 5. Stafford has 11.
11. So you like this the gap in total touchdowns is only 10, and obviously it's a pretty significant amount, but it's not as much as 31 to 46. Like I think it's worth mentioning that and again, uh some of these like Rams shootout games have just been shootout games and or like blowouts where they just completely dominate an opponent, and it's kind of just like it just happens that he gets those touchdowns. Not necessarily like again, I feel like I'm kind of discrediting Matt Stafford and his touchdown getting ability, but at the same time, it's like I just want to give it to Drake May. I just think he's more valuable as a player. It's just not even like again,
Drake May leads the
you
league
put
in.
oh, I was gonna say you put take it's not just Drake May. You take Patrick Mahomes, Josh Allen, Lamar Jackson. You could even throw Jordan Love into that conversation. You put Caleb Williams on the Rams. Any of those guys on the Rams. Trevor Lawrence. You could like they would dominate. You put any of them, not any I mean, I'm
Yeah,
sure they would all be fine in New England, but they wouldn't Drake May has done some pretty incredible stuff.
yeah. By the way, Drake May leads the league in yards per pass attempt, so that's what I was thinking of. the combination of that and leading the league in completion percentage would be like historically rare if he didn't win MVP. By the way, Sam Darnold is second, so good for him. Although
Go
that does
Sam.
include the yards that the receiver runs. So shout out to Jason. Anyway, May does have a higher QBR. He has a higher EPA. He has significantly more first downs and rushing touchdowns. His tools his weapons are just significantly worse. I think the Sean McVay system is excellent. I think the Vrabel offense has been excellent too. But May did take more sacks too. But again, when we look at like his
Offensive
style
line.
and his ability to run and his offensive line, yeah, that too. I don't know if Stafford would have made it the whole season with the Patriots' offensive line and the injuries that they had to suffer. And also, I want to debunk something else really quick. The schedule, right? The Rams, did they win the division last year? I think they did, right?
Yeah, I think they did.
So they played a great schedule, or like very hard schedule, and they did great. By the way, they didn't win their division. If you don't win your division, like it's going to be hard for me to pick you as the MVP. Like you couldn't beat the Seahawks, you know, and the Seahawks
those crappy Seahawks, you know.
Yeah, those darn Seattleans.
Those darn old. Okay, I'm sorry.
But he first of all he didn't win the division, but second of all, I understand that the Patriots had easier opponents. They were given them because last season May was much worse than Stafford and the Pats were much worse. But let's not compare against teams, okay? Because comparing against whole teams doesn't really paint the picture correctly. We should just compare against defenses. Stafford and May don't play linebacker. They only play quarterback, and they only play the defenses that are opposed to them. And if you only average the passing defenses, they're pretty much the same. Like, I think Stafford is like only marginally like harder than May. And so that whole argument kind of disappears when you focus on the actual pressures that they had to face, as well as the secondaries that they had to throw against. And also, something else I want to point out, common opponents. Drake May and Matt Stafford played 6 games against common opponents. I don't remember all of them, but some include like the Falcons, I think, for example, and the I don't know. My mind is blanking right now. I can't remember correctly. But anyway, they played 6 games against common opponents. Let me just give you the overall stats for those 6 games. Drake May is 6-0. He threw for 1,585 yards. So let's say 1,600. 13 touchdowns and 3 interceptions. Stafford is 4-2. He had 40 fewer yards, almost pretty much the same. 1 more touchdown and 3 more interceptions. And for rushing, Stafford had 0 yards, 0 touchdowns. May had 160 yards and 1 rushing touchdown. So against those 6 common opponents, I will get those teams in a second because I don't want to not share them. May was definitively better.
Can I also add, it's not like the Rams schedule was easy, but it wasn't that bad. Like, they hosted the Texans. Obviously, Texans turned out to be a great team. But if everyone remembers, the Texans started the year, I'm pretty sure they were like 2-5 or 2-6. Like, they started pretty terribly. They played the Texans, then they went to Tennessee, a terrible team, like in contention for number 1 pick, terrible. Mm-hmm. They lost in Philadelphia. Then they hosted the Colts in week 4. So sure, Danny Dimes, insanity, whatever. They won by a touchdown at home. Then they lose at home to San Francisco. They go to Baltimore and play a pretty abysmal Ravens team at that point. They win by 2 touchdowns. Okay, give them that. Then they play Jacksonville in England, and they definitely destroy Jacksonville. So I'll give them their props there. Then they beat the Saints at home. They go to San Francisco and beat San Francisco. Okay, give them that win too. Then they beat Seattle. Okay, give them that win. Then they beat Tampa, who was already on that downward plunge of just not being good anymore. Then they lose to Carolina. Then they beat Arizona, a 3-14 team. Then they beat Detroit by 1 touchdown, a team that didn't make the playoffs. They lose to Seattle against a comeback. They lose to Atlanta. and they end the year winning against Arizona. I'm just saying, it's not like they've had the hardest of schedules like everyone's acting. You can say that the Patriots have had an easy schedule, but you can't say that the Rams have had a hard schedule at all. I mean, this is not they've played 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 playoff teams total. So then they lost 3 of those games. They lost 4 of those games.
According to some metrics, the Rams have had a very hard schedule, but I think if you focus especially on passing defenses, they have not had that difficult opponents. And by the way, the 6 common opponents that the Pats and Rams had are the entire NFC South, the Titans, and the Ravens. And so, right, the Pats went 6-0. The Rams, as you just mentioned, lost to the Panthers and Falcons. So, like, come on, really. Again, other quick points. I just think like May beating Allen for like the division championship, that's huge props, and leading this team in this incredible increase year over year is exciting. I think if you focus on some volume stats like total touchdowns, for example, Stafford might deserve the MVP, and Stafford, again, all due respect, is an excellent quarterback. And one thing that I fear might give him the edge from voters who actually have a say in this is he's a legacy pick, kind of. He doesn't have a quarterback. He doesn't have an MVP. And I think if you want to talk Hall of Fame, like Stafford is maybe fringe Hall of Fame. Like I think he probably is Hall of Fame even without this MVP because he's been the quarterback, for example, for like Puka and Cooper Kupp and Calvin Johnson in some of their best seasons ever. But
and won a Super Bowl.
He did win the Super Bowl a few years ago too, and so that probably puts him in the Hall of Fame already. But if you give him this MVP, then he enters like even higher conversations in terms of all-time QBs. And Drake May will be here for the next decade at least, so he has time. But it's a little weird that I didn't know May was going to be this good. I didn't. If you told me like 4 months ago that we'd be debating this MVP between two
guys, and that these were the two, and it wasn't going to be Lamar or Josh Allen again.
Yeah, or Mahomes, and they have like a 14-year age gap or whatever it is. Like it's strange, but I think Drake May is the better quarterback. And MVP stands for most valuable player. Who is more valuable to their team? Who contributed more to them winning? It's why I think Jokic is the MVP in the NBA. It's why I think I actually think honestly, if we go with the MVP argument, it's possible that JSN should have been, I think, for Offensive Player of the Year. But whatever. Puka and JSN are both very helpful. And it's hard to discredit a player based on how good the rest of his team is. But even without that, I think that Drake May is the best quarterback. I think Puka is the best receiver. And I'm just going to end it there. So he's my pick.
I'm good with it.
I understand if you dislike it. I understand if you think I'm a homer. Feel free to comment. Feel free to DM me, troll me. And if Stafford wins, very happy for him. But I will be rooting for May for many years to come. So,
by the way, if anyone wants to make fake Instagram accounts to troll Ramsey, please let me know. I will absolutely take part in that and have some fun. So
that's great. Yeah. You guys have fun with that. Drake May will
the Daggers MVP.
Exactly. Yeah. All right. Well, a podcast where we picked Drake May to win MVP and we picked the Seahawks to win the Super Bowl. Who could have predicted this? This has been
it's been a great season. I know we haven't done much coverage, but we'll definitely be able to do more next year. We'll Ramsey and I will be living together. So
get ready.
We may get some Dagger couch episodes with a little set and some microphones, real podcast style. Yeah, we thank you guys for tuning in. Hope you guys are all 100% accurate on your brackets, and we hope you guys all win money. By the way, we're sponsored by. I'm just kidding. We think you guys are gonna enjoy this Super Bowl, season, and we really couldn't ask for a better postseason going into January and February this year. I mean, really, it's beautiful. It's gonna be beautiful football.
Yeah.
Oh, I can't wait.
Best of luck, Rajan, and in Italy, and we're excited to do some daggering while you're overseas. I looked up the name of that sport, by the way. It's called ski jumping. So
Ski
talk,
jumping.
talk about that, and what's to come in the NFL and NBA will be back soon. We're gonna have a special guest to talk about the NBA All Stars very soon. But it's been fun. Yeah,
It's
make sure
been
to
fun.
follow us on our socials. Listen on Spotify and YouTube. Tell your friends. Leave a comment. Let us know.
Troll Ramsey a little bit about his Drake May pick.
Yeah, and troll Rajan
Absolutely.
about being a little too high on Seattle because Sam Darnold is going to choke. And we will see you next time.
Take care, Dagger fam. Found it. Noggin. See ya.